You were so alone.
You hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Tom.
Okay, good. Hopefully, I'll stay that way. Thank you.
Yeah, hopefully. You're doing great. Good morning, Julie. Please getting ready. So let's give him a moment. Almost ready.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you this morning?
Good, thank you. Hope everybody is
Wonderful.
well.
Yeah, Julie, just getting going. Be ready with workbook lesson 103. God being love is also happiness.
Good morning, Caroline, Tamara. Thank you for your patience. Please finishing to set his
Good morning to
view.
you.
All right. I think we're good to go here. Just do a quick check on Facebook and see if it looks like it's working. We'll be good to go. I love this song. Today is lesson 103. God, being love, is also happiness. I'm going to read from Tom's book first. I think we've got a good built-in meditative kind of state for this. Do my last check now. Oh, excellent. All right, it's looking great. We're off to the races, people. God, being love, is also happiness. Happiness is an attribute of love. Happiness cannot be apart from love. Thank you, sweetie. Nor can happiness be experienced where love is not. Love has no limits, being everywhere, and therefore joy is everywhere as well. Yet can the mind deny the belief that love has no limits is so, believing there are gaps in love where sin can enter, bringing pain instead of joy. This strange belief that love has limits and is not everywhere would limit happiness by redefining love as limited and introducing opposition in what has no limit and no opposite. When one holds the false belief that love has limits and is not everywhere, fear is associated then with love. This false belief in fear's results become the heritage of minds that think what the split-minded have made and imagined as fear effects are real. These fear-based images, with no reality in truth, bear witness to the fear of God, forgetting that God, being only love, God must also be joy. This basic error, that love has limits and is not everywhere, we will try again to bring to truth today and teach ourselves God, being love, is also happiness. To fear God is to be afraid of joy. Begin your periods of practicing today with this association, that God, being love, is also happiness, and to fear God is to be afraid of joy. For this corrects the false belief that God is fear. This association that God, being love, is also happiness, and to fear God is to be afraid of joy, also emphasizes happiness belongs to you because of what God is. Allow this one correction, that God, being love, is also happiness, and that to fear God is to be afraid of joy, to be placed within your mind each waking hour today. Then welcome all the happiness this one correction brings. As truth replaces fear and joy becomes what you expect to take the place of pain, God, being love, joy will be given you. Bolster this expectation that God, being love, will give you joy frequently throughout the day, and quiet all your fears with this assurance, kind and wholly true. God, being love, is also happiness, and it is happiness that I seek today. I cannot fail because I seek the truth. And that is today's lesson, lesson 103, out of A Course in Miracles workbook for those of us who are trying hard to figure all this stuff out. Tom's book called Understanding A Course in Miracles. Workbook lessons, how to end blame, shame, guilt, and fear with love and forgiveness. And I'm going to read the notes from that book too. We'll have a little meditation. We'll probably hear some stuff from Tom, the man on the mountain, and my dad and Adriana, and we'd love for you guys to participate. Thank you so much for being here. Here are the notes to lesson 103. God being love is also happiness. For this lesson to be believable, it is helpful to revisit the ancient philosophical questions that if God is only love and is all-powerful, all-knowing, everywhere and every when, why does evil exist? Note that evil is the belief that there is something that could possibly harm you. Religious traditions have wrestled with this question about the apparent existence of evil over millennia. Sorry, I got something that's slowing me down here. Let me just see if I can do that. All right, there we go. So, religious traditions have wrestled with this question about the apparent existence of evil over millenniums. Everybody seems to believe it around me. This is especially a problem for the Western traditional religions of Islam, Judaism, and Christianity. Religious traditions have attempted to explain this through the use of free will. But the existence of evil ultimately leads to the belief in a judgmental God, in which salvation must be earned and not freely given to everyone. The belief in evil results the belief in evil result is a God of unconditional love being transformed into a God to be feared. Rather than unconditional love, we now have what the ego calls conditional love. Conditional love claims that love is limited and it has an opposite. To the ego, love's opposite is fear. Hate is merely an extreme form of focused fear. The ego believes that both love and fear are possible and that both are real and have the ability to change what you really are. ACIM's answer to the question of the apparent existence of evil is a simple one. Evil cannot come from God. Therefore, evil can only appear to exist in the imagination of the split-minded, who believe themselves to be separate from the mind of God. Evil cannot be real, but it can be imagined. Imagination has no ability to change the truth that love has no limits and no opposites, yet your ego's denial of love's unlimited nature makes a distorted, fear-based world that masquerades as your provisional reality. Time provides a play school in which the split-minded can be or imagine anything in perfect safety. The ego forgets the fact that this play school is not real and that your safety is not threatened. In time, opposites are imagined to exist, to provide contrast or differentiation for individuated learning experiences. Without this differentiation, the various experiences needed for experiential learning to take place would be missing. It would be like a chemistry class without the hands-on experience provided by doing the lab work. We value the hands-on experience rather than just information read from a book. Through this imagined differentiation, we're able to learn, know, demonstrate, and be various aspects of love in form. Yet in truth, love is not limited. Time is merely a play school for fun and learning. In the real world, the shared mind of God, there are no opposites, for only love is real. When your ego denies the truth that love is unlimited and has no opposites, your ego believes that there are gaps in love in which evil can exist. Evil results in sin and leads to pain and suffering, and ultimately to believing that a judgmental God is around you and can judge you. And that's fear. When you believe in the reality of evil, your egoic mind associates fear with love. The ego has redefined true love into false conditional love, which must be earned and can be lost, rather than see it all as perfect, whole, and complete, part of the oneness of all that is. Your ego imagines sin, guilt, and fear to be real, and separation to be your provisional reality. Because the ego believes that fear, love's opposite, is real, egoic love is now fear-based love. Since the ego believes that evil is a real threat to your existence, its warped notion of love gives you the right to change, fix, control, impress, protect another because you love them. God created them too stupid and limited to know what's best for themselves. To your ego, if God allows evil to exist, then God himself must be limited and feared, for he could not be a God of unconditional love. Evil only appears to exist within the split mind that chooses to follow a fear-based thought system. Follow the voice for God and change your thought system to love, and your provisional reality will change. The fear-based world that your ego made is a fantasy land that has no ability to change the truth of who you really are. Love has no opposites and cannot be limited by these misperceptions of who you are. Happiness is an attribute of love, and happiness and joy cannot be experienced apart from love. I lost my spot. Anybody else know where I'm at? Happiness is an attribute of love, and happiness and joy cannot be experienced apart from love. God, being love, is also happiness. Do not allow your ego's false fantasies to transform a God of unconditional love into a judgmental God to be feared. To be afraid of God is to be afraid of the joy that God's unconditional love alone brings. Today's question, I'll copy it into our chat and stuff, we can come back to it, is God is only love, and love has no limits or opposites. Why is a fear-based thought system so incompatible with that truth? Phenomenal question today, Tom. Thank you. All right, let's take a minute and relax, get ourselves down into a mode where we can take in some of these messages at a deeper level. We're 103 days into our course, and we should be starting to get some results. I had a great miracle happen yesterday. Was it Monday or Tuesday that I had that interview? Monday? It was Monday. Yeah. So I had a 30-minute long interview on Monday. And it was one of the quickest and shortest ones, and one of the only ones in my recent memory where somebody asked to see my current work that I'm doing at the company I'm at. And it bears a lot of significance to the guy that I was talking with. He's the guy who runs the whole UX team at General Electric. And after that 30-minute interview, he said, sounds like we could be a good fit. I'll see what I can do. And yesterday afternoon, I got a call, and just off that 30-minute call, I got the job. So I'll be starting at GE in the next couple of weeks. It's perfectly lined up for me because my contract with my current company ends on Friday. I've been trying to find a job for the last several months. God lined it up perfectly, exactly when it needed to be, where it needed to be, and I believe with whom it needed to be, because the design systems and what I do for a living is kind of the elite group, where the people that take care of the systems that all the designers use in order to create everything else. And GE stuff runs not just in web browsers, but in these devices that go out into hospitals. This is GE Healthcare specific. So being able to expand my UX work beyond typical computers and phones is always a bonus. It always gives new perspectives and new challenges and all kinds of fun stuff to work with. So things are going great over here, and I just wanted to spread some joy. So let's take a minute. We'll connect with Mother Earth beneath us, whatever surface you're connected to, the floor, the chair, whatever it is. Those atoms of your tush are connected to the center of the earth, just like everybody else who can hear my voice. We are all God's children, and together we can raise up the entire humanity to a higher level. The more of us that realize that fear is just an illusion, the less fear will have control in our lives. So let's take a minute and take a couple of deep breaths. With the first breath or so, I want you to try and take it into your own lungs. Take it in as deep as you can. Hold it for yourself. Hold that deep breath in. We're going to slow our rhythm down. When you're ready to release that breath, nice, controlled out breath. Let's get into a rhythm of box breathing. Box breathing is that you breathe in for a time, you hold it for a time, you breathe out for a time, and you hold the out breath for a time. And we'll start small, just 4-minute breaths. 4-second breaths. All right, so here we go. Inhaling together deeply and holding our breath. 4, 2, 1. Exhaling with control. Let it all out. And then hold the out breath. 4, 3, 2. And breathe in that nice, cool air. This is a pretty fast pattern, so I'm going to slow it down a little bit. As you get your full breath in, let's hold that breath for about 6 seconds. 4, 3, 2, and breathe out with control now. 4, 3, control that out breath all the way out, and hold your out breath for 3, 2, 1. Deep breath in for 6 seconds. Breathe in, 3, 2, breathe in all the way and hold it. 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale with control. And as you exhale, get ready to hold your breath for a moment as we count. 5, 4, 3, 2. Let's take the deepest breath of the day now. All the way in. Let your belly expand so your lungs can fill up completely. And let each of your chakras start to light up. The rainbow goes from red at the base of your spine to a vibrant ultraviolet as it reaches the crown of your head. That full rainbow of chakras inside of you, they create a white, bright light. Let that light expand beyond your body, expand to fill your soul, which is as big as the universe, because that part of you is part of God. It is our connection to the Holy Spirit. It is the guidance in our day. And Jesus, our brother, walks beside us to guide us through today's lesson. Let's hear what he has to say. God, being love, is also happiness. Happiness is an attribute of love. It can't be a part of it, nor can it be experienced where love is not. Love has no limits. It's everywhere. And therefore, joy is everywhere as well. Our imagination can deny this, but that doesn't mean that our imagination produces reality. If it did, this strange belief would limit the happiness because it would redefine love as this limited love that requires giving and taking. And if you don't give me enough, I'm going to take stuff from you. That's not true love. That's fearful based love. And it's not really love. This basic error, we will try again to shift to truth today by teaching ourselves God, being love, is also happiness. To fear him is to be afraid of joy. This one correction, placed centrally in your mind with each waking hour today, will allow you to bathe in happiness and realize that as truth replaces fear, joy becomes what you expect in the place of pain. God, being love, will give you joy and happiness. Keep this thought in your mind throughout the day and quiet all of your fears with this assurance, kind and wholly true. God, being love, is also happiness. And it's happiness I seek today. I cannot fail because I seek the truth. And that, my friends, is really the truth. We are a part of God. And being love, we are also happiness. Today, it's our job to get in touch with that. That's what this course is for. This course is meant to bring us back to where we need to be. Today, let's come back to this thought. God, being love, is also happiness. And it is happiness I seek today. I cannot fail because I seek the truth. Let's take a moment to come back into our bodies. That light that shines through you today can consistently shine throughout the day. It doesn't have to be dampened by us returning to our bodies and dealing with the world in front of us that we need to. That's our job here too. Figure out how to live in this world of apparent duality, but rise above towards the singularity. Our imaginations are incredibly powerful things. Today, let's use our imagination to remember God, being love, is also happiness. And it is happiness I seek today. I cannot fail because I see the truth. I'll put all this in chat. I can't wait to hear how this makes you feel. So take a moment and then let me know.
Lee,
Good morning, Andy,
Yes, ma'am.
Caroline.
can,
Morning.
can I say something? I didn't want to interrupt anybody.
You can say anything you want. I'm done. In fact, I
Oh,
finish and I'm done 3 or 4 times. I'm ready for anybody to jump in anytime. Go for it,
well,
Carol.
this was fabulous. I just wanted to say congratulations on your new job. That's just freaking awesome.
Thank you.
Uh, I just, I'm getting ready to go walk my dog. So I did want to say that here in Northern Virginia, the birds are back. So they came back this morning and they were just chirping and was out on the
Wonderful.
balcony. And it was just, I just thought, boy, this lesson is wonderful today. Being, it's springtime and the birds are here. It's getting up to 80 degrees here today. And I thought, wow, that's part of having.
Ooh-wee.
Oh,
That's going to be nice. I can tell you, Adriana just turned the heater up over here that she has next to her to
oh,
get it into the 70s here.
oh.
I can't wait for spring to spring up here in Massachusetts.
Well, you guys have a great day. I have to go.
Thanks. Have a nice walk.
You too. You have a good day too. Bye bye.
Bye, Caroline. Thank you. Andy, did you want to say something after Caroline?
Yes, I do. But I'm really hesitant to say this, but it's because I don't want to offend anybody, which is not my intention. And so I
No
guess
problem. We'll fix it. It's
it's
all good.
it's not my business either, right? Um, I was in a room earlier today, and this is actually what triggered my thought here, or whatever, my memory. Um, and it's a room. It was a room with breathing techniques and relaxation. And my thought was, why do I have to remember to breathe? It's like the one of the most natural experiences. Do I also have to remember to beat my own heart? Um, I feel that I only have to accept my experience as peace,
Hmm.
love, and joy. Yeah. Why quiet my fears when my fears don't exist?
To try and
Uh,
quiet them means you have to kind of believe in them, right? Not
correct.
very helpful.
Fear, yeah, fear is not the opposite of love, because that's what Course in Miracles teaches us. There is no opposite to love. It's there. Joy is there. Fear, peace, and love are there underneath all the duality, the misconceptions. So why do I have to figure out how to live in a world of duality? Those are just questions of mine this morning.
I think they're wonderful questions. And the answer is you don't. This is it. We
Right.
can wake up today and not worry about duality.
I'm going to
It's
skip
amazing
all
when you
that.
look at a coin, you've got one coin. We can talk about two sides of a coin, but it's still one coin. So
Mhm.
these two things exist. And we had a section yesterday, where east and west meet right inside of us. East and west never truly, they go in opposite directions, but in ourselves, they're one, like all
Yeah,
directions, because we
exactly. And
start from where we're at. Yeah, that's
yeah,
great,
and
Andy.
I guess I'm going to skip all those other things and just go straight to joy. And actually I have, and I feel it, and I think it's
I
because
love that.
I've skipped the other things that,
I'm
yeah.
glad you found the shortcut.
It's direct, very direct. Thank you.
That's
Thank you, Andy.
that's a wonderful idea that you've actually superseded or realized that this world has no ability to impact you or rob you of your own inner peace. But the reason that we are here is to demonstrate to ourselves that fact. And if you can understand or if you can achieve that realization that nothing in time and space or no outside force has the ability to rob you of your own inner peace, you've learned the lesson that time and space was designed to teach. that you are only you're in charge. You have the free will to determine how you choose to be. You can either be in fear, you can be in love, but your natural state is that love, and it's only you that prevent you from having that. So, for most people, the reason that they're here is because, well, they want to have that experience, and because of the belief in the constant brainwashing that we've been indoctrinated into this fear-based thought system. For most people, the idea that you can transcend fear, they believe is an impossibility. And that's because they're so grounded in the idea that they're limited, that they're a sinner, and that they don't really believe, as this lesson talks about, that God can really be a God of unconditional love. We've been indoctrinated into this belief that there is a judgmental God, and therefore we've sinned and we have to earn our way back to heaven or to the state of grace, whatever you want to call it. And that's the lesson that we're here to realize. There's one axiom, the four axioms, but the last one is this idea that in time and space, the only relationship of consequence is my relationship with God, my source. If you understand that you are part of that one self and that God is only love, everything else no longer can rob you of your own inner peace. And of course, God is everything, everywhere. Then, if you want to be love, you'll demonstrate that, and you'll see that being reflected back. So, it's a
But
very
Tom,
important
what about
lesson.
war and Putin and all that stuff?
Yeah, those are good things. You got to realize. Whenever I say good things, I better explain that. I'll get in trouble. But you've got to realize that
I'm just setting him up. He had this.
this world is not created by God. It's created by a mass collective consciousness that wanted to experience the idea of opposites, the idea that there could be something other than love. Why? Because if I want to really be love and I want to demonstrate some of the qualities of love, it's hard for me to be helpful to a person that is perfect, whole, and complete. We need people that want to pretend that they're not perfect, whole, and complete so that we could help them, so that we could do what love would have us do if the illusion of separation was true. So, this world is a world that's based on, it's a fear based world created by the mass collective consciousness. And on the whole, uh, the mass collective consciousness wants to experience those uh, situations. So, this world, we have to realize that in time and space, the idea that uh, I can blow up someone's body or that I need some uh, plot of land so that I can feel secure and safe is really just somebody that's in a very fearful place, and somebody that also, if I believe that I am the body and I need that to exist, I'm also in a fearful place. But they've bought into that reality and they're here to grow and learn. So in this case, everyone, including the Putins in the world, are acting in the most, in a Ripley's believe it or not, loving fashion that their fear will allow them to do. So by striking out, they're actually uh, acting in the most loving way that they can. Now, because of that situation, time and space allows us to change, and it gives us learning opportunities so that we can grow and learn and perhaps realize that next time around I won't have to do that because now I've had that learning experience. Today I come home and I kick the dog. Tomorrow, because I've had that learning experience, maybe I'll just cuss at it. Okay, so we're here to grow and learn, and that's what we're here for. And what we need to be aware of is not to mistake the actor, the Putins in this world, the costume, for the Son of God. That really he's just somebody also uh, in a state of fear, and he's acting in the most loving way that he can. And I'm not saying that if we love him, he'll be nice. What we have to do is we have to ask what would the Holy Spirit have us do, and then respond according to that information, that feedback. In this case, what you might find the Holy Spirit might say, well, what you need to do is in order to minimize your own fear, you need to react because you still believe that you're the body. You need to react and defend that body because you want to continue to have some learning experiences you've come here to experience and you're not ready to check out. Or it might say that what you need to do is realize that Putin is not a body. He's something much, much more. He's here to come and learn. And maybe the Holy Spirit will say, well, what you need to do is to stand up to that bully. You need to uh, have the bully realize you have to be the actor that stands up to the bully so that the bully realizes that maybe what he was doing was inappropriate. So we just have to go to our uh, inner self, ask for guidance, and follow that guidance, and not be that concerned with what our action is. It's why we do that. So whenever you stand up to the bully and you uh, respond by blowing up something else or whatever, or maybe even uh, having him lose power or more, uh, that is just something that you did, and you didn't do it out of malice. You realized that he was just an actor playing his role, and that in this case, the Holy Spirit said he wants you to be an actor that will help him learn to grow so that in the future he can respond in maybe a different way. So that's all. We're all here to grow and learn. And whenever we get sucked into the drama, we forget that Putin is merely, that's his costume, that's his role that has been assigned to him, that he's assigned to himself this lifetime. And there is no really consequence. It's just learning lessons that he's here to wake up to. And in regards to this, and this is probably going to upset some people, but in regards to whether or not Putin is crazy or enlightened, uh, he at least is not acting as a victim. He is acting as a deliberate creator. Unfortunately, perhaps not a loving deliberate creator, selfish deliberate creator, but he's acting as a deliberate creator. He's taking power and saying, I believe that my thoughts, that I have the ability to cause something to happen in the world. And that person, maybe if we talk about evolution, or he might be in a closer to enlightenment than the person that perceives themselves as a victim of outside forces that are beyond their control. So, we're all here to learn and grow, and one of the steps in the process might be the realization that you are causative for your world, that time and space is a world of perception, that your thoughts become things, and that may very well be the lesson that he's come here this lifetime to learn. next lifetime he might come back, or maybe even in this lifetime, and realize that he's got tremendous creative abilities, and he can use those creative abilities to uplift everybody instead of maybe drive them into fear. But this is just a play school, and we get caught up, as Andy said, in the idea of making this real. And when you realize that we're just actors strutting on the stage, trying to grow and learn and hone our skills and uh, try and demonstrate to ourselves what love would have me do in any given situation. How can I reduce my fear? How can I act in the most loving way? And as we do that, we no longer start mistaking actors or the roles that they play for the reality of what they are. And we can see our brothers and sisters or all things as being on their own perfect path, and give them the space to grow and learn, with the realization that if we ask the Holy Spirit, what would love have us do? The Holy Spirit will guide us in the role that we're supposed to play, and we can then play our part in time and space and help that person or ourselves uh, wake up to the truth of who we are. So, whatever the Holy Spirit tells us to do, that's what we can do without any blame, shame, or guilt. So, if the Holy Spirit says, "Hey, Tom, you're in pretty good shape. You don't believe that you're a body. You don't fear death or anything like that."
But he's not looking at his phone.
I could,
I'm sorry.
I can go and get a gun and fight back if that's what I want. If I don't have that, I might want, but just follow the guidance without uh, judgment and without blame, shame, or guilt, or making the other person wrong for the role that they've been assigned. Thank you.
You
Thank
know,
you, Tom.
I had one experience when he was speaking about Putin. I said, "Oh, I can accept the Putin within myself and love the Putin within myself because we don't want to, our ego would tell us, oh, you don't have nothing in common with Putin, but we are one with Putin. We do, we do have these experiences. It enlightened me. It enlightened me that just now because, once again, I'm accepting, and that doesn't mean I'll be hate. The more I accept the role of others and myself, yeah, the more orchestrated and beautiful the life seems to be too. So that kind of, that just really resonated with me in such a way that I don't have to fight Putin. I have to accept him.
Exactly, I think, and that's a nice thing that you said, accepting, because at the beginning of your sharing, Andy, you were saying that there's sometimes that I don't even have to remember to breathe. I mean, it's just happened naturally as it's part of my nature and God's and all those things. And I don't. And there's some days that you will find yourself very easily just ignoring or disregarding any fear or any fearful thought that you can have within yourself, because maybe those days are more inspired than others. But what happened in the days where you really cannot move from fear to love? Yesterday I had one of those days. We had different circumstances in the morning, during the morning after the session, that even though I didn't want it to go into that dark mind space, I I felt like I needed to go in there. So I went in there and I couldn't stop my feeling. I mean, I started to cry and I couldn't stop. And for some reason, my mind knew, I mean, not for some reason, I have now the knowledge in my mind, but my experience in that moment was one full of sadness. I was super sad yesterday in some form. So I was crying and I didn't want it to stop because it it was like something that I needed to do. I knew that nothing was happening. I knew that everything was okay. I knew that it was just a fearful moment for me. But I had again that kind of moments where my ego doesn't let go. And when my ego doesn't let go, I'm no longer willing to ignore it. Not because it is good, it's just because it's pointing at something that I need to see, that I need to take out of my system in order to be released. So there's sometimes when ignoring the fear doesn't work really well to transcend to love. There's sometimes when you need to just feel. Lee was trying to pull me out of the emotion that I was not able to let go by saying, let's go outside, let's change like the like the space so we can have any other kind of environment and see that everything is okay. I mean, and I knew that everything was okay. But I had to say to him, you know what? No, I need to talk about this because I know that everything is okay, but I can't stop crying. And I don't know why. I mean, I think I know why, but I need just to feel a little bit more this, and I just want to talk about this, but not to dwell into the drama, but just to observe it. It's just like my mind. I don't know if this happens to everybody, but within me, when I can't let go the ego thought, I just need to observe, to be able to identify what it is that it's attached to this emotion in the past, so I can just see it and say, this feeling comes from that thing, not from this present moment, because in the present moment, nothing was happening. So I had to dwell a while talking about what I was feeling without me feeling ashamed for crying or feeling that I was wasting time, that I should do something else, in order for really release the thing that was hidden within me. There's so much situations that are hidden in your mind because that's the way the ego puts you in the present moment with fear. So if you don't have the capacity just to ignore it really easily, it's because there's something hidden in your mind that your ego is trying to grab and make you feel miserable about. So you just need to see it. It's like everything needs to go out to the light in order to find the right place, find the right order. So there's sometimes that the most loving thing that I can do for myself is dwell a little bit in the emotion without making it real, but just observing it. You know, I don't know if I can explain this well, but it's not feeling like a victim, but giving yourself a little bit of time just to let the thought process be released. Andy was saying at the beginning, like, why should I be remembering to breathe? There's sometimes when breathing is so natural, like so there, that the ego mind just ignore it. So when you do these exercises with breathing, you get re-inspired or re-inspired, because you remember that the most essential thing for you is just to be spirit. So it's not about you bringing the Holy Spirit into your body. It's just remembering that you are already with the Holy Spirit, that the breathing is there in your body, not because you can control it, it's because it is part of God. So the breathing is the Holy Spirit within you. So when you do your work of paying attention on your breathing, on doing something different with your breathing, is for you to get in touch with that essence. The most essential part of your being in the level of the form is the breathing. It is so essential that it happens automatically without you controlling it from the mind. So there's sometimes when you really need just to focus on or the breathing or the pain that you're feeling, just to release the idea of fear, to release the idea, the tiny mad idea that it was being hidden like in the level of the form. So I wanted to share this because yesterday was a really weird day for me. I mean, when when this happened, that I couldn't. It was like somebody was open, like how do you say the thing where the thing where you? Oh my God, my English is so bad. Where you something. I mean, something was open, and I couldn't close it. No matter what Lee said to me, I know that in my mind was I was telling Lee, you know what? It's just that in my mind, I know that everything is okay, but for some reason I can't stop this feeling of I want to cry. So I just had to let go the cry. I mean, I had to cry. And I started to just let my mind go through the thought process of what is this feeling, what is this coming from, where is this coming from. And I really could move from fear to love, but it took a little bit. It was a little bit painful for me because I could clearly see where everything was coming from, and it was coming from a lackness idea of myself again. But it was so hidden that that I had to take a moment. And it was very helpful to have Lee around because Lee really helped me to just go through that process. But what the thing is that it's always like the mind is the key to unlock your heart. In your heart, there's feelings that will always try to put order in your belief systems because your heart is pure light automatically. Sorry for my bad English, but when your heart is telling you that something is not right, that something is feeling like bad, it's because it's trying to grab the attention from the mind to unlock something, to let the light flow. So when the heart feels like constricted or like empty or this kind of weird feelings that you can even name it, is because the light is trying to be brighter, but there's something in the mind that needs to be acknowledged in order for the light to flow. So I wanted to share this because it comes along with everything that we have been saying here. And God being love is also happiness. So it's part of our process to experience that happiness even in your darkness. Yesterday I was happy. I know that I was happy because of all the things that I have been doing, but for some reason I needed to cry. And I took that as some part of myself that just needed to be released. And that gave me happiness at the end of the day because I felt really like, oh my God, I finally could like switch the gears here. I mean, I was really having a hard time doing that, but I really did it like going through it, not just avoiding that. There's sometimes that it can be helpful avoiding it, but this time wasn't. I needed to cry because a lot of things has been happening in my life. So, and I have requested help, as the book says, since the morning. I was asking the Holy Spirit to give me the right view on this. So in sometimes, as Tom was saying, the most loving thing to do is just go through the dark side. Go through the dark side, let yourself feel broken so you can realize that you have never been broken. So I want to share that because yesterday was a beautiful day. It was a challenging one for me. But again, the book really did its work again. Because in my mind now, there's this tools of information that now helps me to really, really move from fear to love. And now I'm not afraid of fear, and I'm not afraid to love. I'm just reorganizing all these things that I see in duality in order just for me to be calm, to be peace, and to be happy with what I've got. Because what I've got is all the light from God in another way in another form and in a beautiful new life that I'm building. So I wanted to share that to everyone, if it's helpful, because I think it's a practical way to put all the words all together.
It was super helpful. And Adriana, I was in the same spot yesterday. It was just I was in a funk yesterday, and I just could not just get out of it. And I said, and like you said a lot of things I was going to say anyway. But the most loving thing, and as you said, I guess Tom said it earlier. I missed it, but most loving thing is to allow yourself to process what you're feeling and to allow the feeling. So I just didn't do anything. I just said, you know what? I'm just giving into this. I'm just going to be in a funk and examine it and see it for what it is. And then I guess it was my higher self just started asking questions. Um, and maybe the Course in Miracles, the tools, it's a tool for us, for our minds. And I was able to ask myself questions. Why do you want to feel this way? What is this? What is this feeling? Where is it coming from? And like you, I kind of I looked around, I looked at my surroundings, and I said, well, everything's fine. There's nothing wrong. Um, my life is actually beautiful, and I just started checking off the different boxes in my life, the things that are happening, and like, wow, everything is actually fine. So what is it then? What is it?
We were exactly in the same point. I'm so glad that you experience something like that, because sometimes I feel like crazy a little bit, because it's like, but you, it's like in the mind, the ego starts to say as well, like, now you're gonna dwell onto this, so you're gonna be sad all day, and the lesson of today is that you need to be happy. So the
Yeah,
ego was
right.
grabbing again.
Yes, and maybe that was a trigger. Maybe the happiness that's was a trigger.
Exactly.
And it's like, okay, well, you're not gonna be happy. You can't be happy because this, that, and the thing
Yeah.
isn't happening. And like in my business, there are some things happening that feel like, and the ego's saying to me, oh, you don't need to be doing this. You're not good at it. Look at what's happening. These houses are not. These flips are going terrible. Look at this, that, and the other.
My
And I'm
God.
like, oh, you're right. I shouldn't be doing it. You're right. I'm a failure. Oh. And so I let myself do all that. And better. I don't have to, then back to what Andy was saying, yeah, I don't have to be here. I don't have to go through this. And the time seemed to be shorter. I don't know how long you went through yours yesterday, Joanna, but I think I ended up taking a nap or just falling asleep. I think my body just gave in, and then I woke up feeling much better. And it's fine. Today it's like nothing ever happened.
Yeah, it was
Something
funny
jumped.
because after the session, I was feeling, I mean, everything began at the very start of the day. Then the session came in, and I found my answers, and I was feeling okay, good. And then something else happened, and then I gave up again, gave up again into the ego mindset.
Repeatedly,
I
right?
Yeah, it was, no, it was really something that I couldn't stop. I mean, uh, for some higher reason, I needed to go through it. And
It's like a
I have
purge.
to say, I didn't want it to say that other part of it, but I know it was helpful for Lee too. I
Oh,
had to
very, no,
go.
no, very helpful. And I think it's like a purge, like a purge.
So for some reason, we
Ever
we are all
Jupiter.
I
one
didn't know
with the
that. How about
planets,
that?
and
Yeah, Jupiter and Neptune
Tamara,
in Pisces. Yeah, it's like
Tamara,
oh,
I'm
sorry.
sorry.
Yeah.
I was wondering because yesterday was my birthday. So
Happy birthday.
that's
Oh, happy birthday,
thank
Andy.
thank you. I'm just wondering though how that would have played out for me
Well, you're going to
if
have
it
that in your solar return chart,
astrological. Yeah. Okay.
for the year. So
Yeah.
you'll be carrying that around for a while, but it's not just emotional, it's very spiritual. Lots of insights. Like Janine went to sleep. Pisces can be anything from like Neptune and Jupiter are both, well, in modern astrology, both rulers of Pisces. Jupiter is the classical, the traditional, and Neptune's the modern. And Neptune is like a lot of like everything ranging from that's immaterial, and it can range from escapism to, you know, transcendence, and sleep is part of that, and dreams and art and imagination and spirituality. And when Jupiter comes together with it, it's just those things are expanded. And in Pisces, very emotional. So that was just like a day. I like watching the planets because it's like the weather for me. It's just like, okay, it's like the internal weather in some ways. And also there was another coinciding aspect of Saturn at the bends of the nodes, and so that would just be like a moment of decision or challenge or something like that going on. I mean, briefly, but you guys were very much in sync, and I love what you're saying. It's just like, yeah, this is the weather. Just watch the weather and feel, and it's a feeling weather. It's a bit complicated to sort of have that
We're
detachment
gonna have to
and
check in with you for the weather report every day now.
feel.
Gonna
Yeah.
need a
The
weather,
emotional weather
Tamara, the
report.
weather woman.
But also I just want to stay with the breathing, Andy. I mean, it's a really good point. But like there have been times in my life, when I had so much anxiety where I like a moment of like witnessing, and I realized, oh my God, I'm not breathing. Like, I'm holding my breath. So I think it's helpful to remember to breathe if you happen to
It's also
be.
the only way we can control our heart rate. It's the key to the autonomic nervous system. You can't control your heart rate, but you can control your breath, and your breath can control your heart rate.
And it's connected to the mind. So when the
Yeah.
breath is calm, the mind
Yes.
is calm. Yeah.
Well, you can't even
It's
really
everything.
stop. You can't even really stop breathing because actually you're just going to pass out and keep and breathe again. So I
Exactly, it's the
just
most essential part, and that is
yeah.
sustained by God,
So I mean,
not
But
by
you know,
you.
holding
I do respect everybody's different ways very much because we do all have different things that really do it for us, and that's absolutely no one's wrong, no one's right for sure, and I'm listening and I'm like, yeah, for sure, I get it, I completely um, believe that acceptance is like really the ultimate in the end. Just accepting it all and everyone's different way is absolutely brilliant, really. It's brilliant. I just come to this place where I'm like acceptance, acceptance, acceptance for some reason. Allowance, the same word, it's just about
Exactly.
there's nothing to do. There's not a lot of energy to put into that. There's really none. Let's
Yeah,
just go to
there's nothing that you need to really do. It's like the book
right.
says. You don't need to do nothing. You need to my God, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah, there's nothing to do. There's absolutely nothing to do. And acceptance means there's nothing to do. It's not like choosing which side I'm on. There's no duality there. It's just all perfect.
well, surrender and choice, I would say, themes for your year if you're going with the chart for
There
this
you
year.
go. Yeah,
But
I've
also I
been
think
doing that.
there are different ways. Like you can have a deep breath, can have a calm breath, you can have a shallow breath, and you can have like a breath where you hold for a while and then just take the air in as needed for survival kind of thing. So,
Yeah, I'm
I've
definitely
definitely
not
been
going to
there,
negate.
Tamara. You took the words out of my mouth. I was going to say, and I guess it's not a thing that everybody does, Andy, but I have, like you, Tamara, I've found when I was being anxious or upset, I was holding my breath. No, no, you can't hold it forever, but you can hold it too long. And it's kind of like you're, I don't know, holding in emotion or something. I don't know, but it does not feel good when you're doing that. And you can be unconscious that you're doing it. And then you can get to a point where you're aware that you're doing it. But I know it was many times I was doing it and I wasn't aware I was doing it. And I had to learn to like fully breathe and then slow down my breath. Um, and allow, all the oxygen to come in. Cause that doesn't feel great when you're when you're breath holding, during anxiety or tension. So yeah, it's something that some people do, and it's not healthy, I don't think. And I think it
Well,
might have
there's
led to me having higher blood pressure because I had that for a while. But yeah, interesting stuff.
I just thought I'd mention something because I remember trying to control my breath when I was having anxiety, and what I learned about that was that when you're having anxiety, the fear was, oh my God, I could pass out, but the actual truth is when you're having anxiety, your heart is pumping, even though your breath might feel out of whack, you're not going to pass out because you're actually kind of in a hyper state, and that actually will not happen. So when I learned about that, I was like, oh, cool. I don't have to worry about that. Holding the breath, you can discover that you're holding your breath because you're resisting whatever the moment, you're resisting the moment. Yeah. But
Exactly. Yep.
even if you did pass out afterwards, you'd say, oh, yeah, that's all that happens. It wouldn't be that scary actually because you're out and then you come back. So I don't know. I guess it's definitely a individualized experience. This
Hey there. I'm not sure if we had
Yeah.
internet troubles on
Yeah,
my side
everything
or
went
everywhere
out.
else. But
That was crazy.
yeah, okay.
Oh, I didn't know if
Might be
everybody was
solar
out too.
flares. I heard we were going to get solar flares this week. So
Well, Tamara has the answer. She knows how the emotional universe,
oh,
I don't
okay.
know about
weather, and
this.
planetary is.
I don't know about the solar
Fix it.
flare.
But I was gonna add on there, like I wasn't when I was breath holding, I wasn't aware that I was breath holding and I wasn't even thinking about passing out. It was something that I just did and I didn't know I was doing it. It was very strange to me. Once I realized I was doing it, it was like some people will hold tension in their shoulders and they'll be holding their shoulders tight, but they don't know it until they go to get a massage or a chiropractor, and it's like a holding back, like you said, of tension. And I'm so glad I don't do that anymore. But
Maybe you're more accepting.
I
Like once you
am.
accept things, then we don't hold, resist and hold our breath.
Oh
But
yeah,
then
I am. I'm just talking about the past and what I used to do and how to
yeah.
explain it to people because
Oh,
it wouldn't make sense to
true.
some people, like and I guess maybe somebody might think I'm literally like like a little kid. It wasn't like that. It was just like a subtle holding of the breath. And yeah, and it wasn't good for
It's
my
like
body.
when you see a candle that is like ending the well, when the light of a candle gets like really small,
Mhm.
and then something make them, I mean, it's just like when you don't remember that you are completely wholly fully complete, or whatever it is, how would
Yes.
we say it here, and you get caught in the ego mind and the level of the form and all separation thoughts. The breathing gets like like
Very
dim,
small. Very
like
small. You're right.
small, like, yeah, short intakes, short outtakes, and then you remember that, well, the Course in Miracles tells you you are perfect, holy, complete. So really, it's natural that you really pay that. I mean, your mind goes and pay attention to the breathing. It goes to the essential part of your being when you remember that space. I was remembering something that I heard from Miracle Voices, I guess it was, that when you are in a group session, how do you bring the Holy Spirit in a session, in a group session, when when there's people that maybe uh, you don't know which kind of belief systems they have or whatever. And one of the guys that were in the panel said, "Well, I had to work with I don't know if it was the UN or whatever, but these huge like meetings with people, with representatives from the entire world, and they were all trying to have like 25 projects or whatever. They needed to approve 25 things in that session from people from all over the world. And the time was short. Everybody was really anxious because everybody knew that there was no much time to do it. So everybody was trying to speak and was trying to get their own part of their projects approved. So the amount of noise in the room was really not a good space to work faster. So the guy that was holding the session, that it was one of the Foundation for Inner Peace, I don't know if it was president or whatever. He just said to he connected. He asked help from the Holy Spirit, and the thing that he was guided to do was tell the people, okay, everybody has within itself a space where we all go when we need to just breathe and think clearly. For some people it's God, for some people it's just closing their eyes, for some people, I don't know, but let's just take a moment and let's all go to that space where you close your eyes and think a little bit within yourself in peace. And he did that to all the panelists that they were having in that. And it was like a miracle, because when he opened his eyes, there was some people that didn't even close their eyes but respected like the moment that he was requesting. And everything went in less time. I mean, they could get the job done. Because he said to the people, go within your mind to that space where you just connect within yourself to think and ask there how is the best way to to make progress with the things that you wanted to be approved to every single person. So everybody had a little bit of time, like less than 1 minute. And when he opened his eyes, he saw the people around. Some of them wasn't even paying attention to this or whatever. But what happened next is that the entire session is hearing me, but I don't know if everybody else
I
is
hear
there.
you.
Okay, great. It's just that we are having internet problems.
Yeah.
But well, that's what I wanted to say. I know that the spirit of the mountain is not longer in Zoom, but he's here.
I think it's probably a good time just to mention it's
A
8
good
o'clock in the
time
morning.
to, yeah, to
Happy
mention that.
Wednesday. Hope you have a great hump day. And I'll be back tomorrow to read lesson 104. But today, as many times as you can, at the threshold of the hour, remind yourself God being love is also happiness. And it's happiness I seek today. I can't fail because I seek the truth. So God being love is also happiness. Don't forget. Have a great day, everybody. See you tomorrow.
And if everybody has something else to share, we can as well hear you.
I just want to say thanks again, Lee. And I find your voice to be very soothing. So I love the readings every day. And I must confess, a couple times I dozed off because I was early and I was listening to your voice. The next thing I was asleep again. So, but it didn't happen today.
That's the theta state we're looking for. That's exactly where I want you to be. You're most receptive. You're most creative. You're some of your best thoughts come when you're right there at that threshold.
That's true.
Thomas Edison was famous for keeping a handful of coins and trying to doze, and he kept a handful of coins above a metal bowl so that when he dozed off, he'd wake up so he wouldn't get right into sleep, but he'd get right on that threshold. But that's the theta state we're looking for. So I'm wonderfully happy that it does that. I can tell you, I practiced a long, long time to try and do it. And Dad and Adriana all keep my pace at the right level. And that
Oh, it's
naturally
great.
slows me down.
It's
I
really
think it
great.
actually slows down my breathing. When I'm talking that way and I'm talking slow,
Uh-huh.
it really changes me. So it's super helpful. And I couldn't do it
It's
without some course correction and feedback. So I'm very grateful that you're here. Everybody's here. Thank you for that feedback.
Yeah, I'm grateful too. I'm grateful for Adriana for your sharing. I love how you just break down and articulate your thoughts, and that's also very, very helpful. And everyone here, of course, very helpful. Love you guys. Have a great, great day.
Thank you, Janine. Thank you, everybody. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Bob, do you want to share something? You haven't said nothing today. I'm really impressed. I can't hear you. You muted.
I love you.
I
No, I
love you too. I want to
actually,
hug you
I
someday.
was listening to everybody, and we all have a talent to try or a purpose to really define what's going on at the moment, and we can look at it in different levels too. I could say I am serene, or I could say I'm exhausted and I'm so tired I'm going to go to sleep. And there are all kinds of levels in between, and we can analyze till the cows come home, and we do. And each person analyzes in a different way. I love it when Tamara talks about um, astrological reasons why we think this or why we feel this. Or um, I I delved into astrology for a while, long enough to understand the basics, long enough to understand that I'm pretty much a Piscean, no matter how I slice it. I just end up that way whenever I see descriptions of what a Piscean is. Um, Now, on the other side of that, as an architect, I'm working on a particular project, and I have to tie in longitude and latitude with the longitude and latitude of a small map into the longitude and latitude um, for Liberia. And it looks like the meeting is over. Oh, that's the Zoom meeting. Okay.
Yeah, just the Zoom meeting. I'm killing some stuff to get it out of the way, but you
Close
can
my
The
eyes.
internet
don't you
here
worry.
is failing. Don't worry. It's just the
It's
internet
all good.
here that it's
Oh,
failing.
yeah. So what I'm saying is we all analyze stuff. And to the degree that we find a new way to analyze things, sometimes that really helps us to get ourselves in perspective so we can have peace. The idea of getting to a point of peace, I still can't think of anything I want more than the peace of God. Happiness is cool, love is cool, all of those things. Now, that doesn't mean that peace is better than love or something else. It just means that that's when I'm at rest and I feel comfortable in my skin. So there are many, many different ways. Sean is here now, has come to Course in Miracles by way of Mr. Dawkins or Professor Dawkins. I don't know his name. David Dawkins, anyway. And each of us learns about ourselves, and each one does that with different methodologies. And that's what's nice when we start to talk, because we pick up different types of aspects that define our who we are and where we're going and all of these kinds of things. And after you've gone through several of these, and when I say gone through, I don't mean you rejected any of them. You can find that there's something in each of these different methodologies of understanding ourselves and our place in this universe that we're in, um, just about every time. And that just comes from having had enough different ways. The saddest thing for me for to think about is when people are not exposed to different methodologies of understanding themselves. And to make that very simplistic and to the point, take a person who grew up in a certain house in a certain little town, never left, still in that little town 60 years later, never went on a vacation to go somewhere, just wanted to relax on his front porch and watch the cars go by. He may be just as serene as anybody else because he got what he needed. For me, that doesn't do it. It just doesn't, because I have already come to recognize that I do have a creative urge. I want to be able to make things into something as beautiful as possible and as authentic as possible and as workable as possible. So those are just three different paradigms that I might venture into at some point and say, well, I'm this in that paradigm, I'm that in this paradigm. I'm okay today. And there was even a book that came out many years ago. It's called I'm Okay, You're Okay. That was a very good book, very simple. If I could do that with everyone I know, we'd have a more peaceful world. Right now, Putin is not okay with me. Do I dwell on it? No. I only would dwell on it if there was a way for me to have any kind of impact on it. Otherwise, I would use the phrase that Lee and I love, "Luz'em gay," which is from the movie Blazing Saddles, when everybody's fighting with everybody else. And what should we do? What should we do? Let them fight. Let them go. Let them go. Let them whatever. So the idea maybe is balance. There's all kinds of different ways for us to feel better. Some people just need to get into balance and they're feeling better. So what does that
That's
mean?
me.
Oh, we can check some more. I noticed Vipin is down here, and he is a master
You
of
know,
of of the Upanishads and a lot of Hindu thinking. And each one of us has been exposed to different ways to understand ourselves. And that's what we're doing. And when we all get together, it's really nice because we all have different ways of thinking about ourselves and we share from those. And sometimes Tamara might say something and I'll go back to astrology. I'll say, let me check that out about Piscean or something. It's just fun. It's great that we talk about it. That's the most important thing for us human beings, in my opinion. Communication is getting back together. It's remembering. It's it's the opposite of what happened when we all got into trouble. We separated from each other. And I really think that talking on this clubhouse kind of room is the best part of all of this. So it's just been a lot of fun today. I didn't really have a need to talk, but since you asked, Adriana, I thought I'd share that. If anybody else wants to talk, I'll share the room now with you.
Thank you, Bob. Well, it has been a good session today too. I will have to say goodbye right now because I do have to start the day. But you are now you are now the moderator. I'm sorry. And so, if anybody wants to keep sharing, otherwise we will continue tomorrow. We'll see you tomorrow. Sean, it's a pleasure to see you here and everybody here. Have a wonderful day.
Okay. Well, I'm still here for a couple of minutes, but I can stay for a little bit. If not, if no one has a need to speak at this point and just be a listener, it's very important. If people are going to talk, there's got to be some listeners. Otherwise, we may think we're going nuts, and we're not. We're just having fun, and it
Yeah.
is a lot of fun. So
Well, I
thank
guess,
you all for listening.
yes, I guess
I think it's time to
it's
close the
time to
room.
close the room. Yeah. I'm going to end it then, okay? So, everybody have a wonderful Wednesday. It's Wednesday, right? I
Right.
have no idea what day. Hump day. Okay. Bob, I love you.
I love you
See
too.
you later.
Okay.
Bye bye. I'm going to end the room and now.